This movie is 2 hours and 51 minutes long, and I felt every single one of them. I had to see this at 10 p.m., and I didn't know it was going to be 3 hours long until I was walking out the door. I didn't go to bed until well after 1 a.m., and I think this ruined my sleep schedule for the rest of Memorial Day weekend, which was not worth it at all because I really didn't enjoy this movie. I wasn't a huge fan of Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning, so I wasn't exactly hyped for part 2 of a movie that I already thought was long and convoluted, but the marketing got me. These big dramatic posters, they got me. Tom Cruise on the Pat McAfee show got me. I started to buy in. Then the movie started with this weird montage of past Mission Impossible moments, like it was a Mission Impossible tribute at the Oscars or something. When it happened, I questioned whether the movie had actually started or if this was a special preamble since this is the end of the franchise. Nope, it's part of the movie. And from that moment on, I knew we were in trouble. Now remember I said this was 3 hours long? Well, the first hour of that, probably even a little more, is just exposition. This movie is now the gold standard for bad exposition. It will be a new reference point for me. There's numerous recaps, characters declaring the stakes, saying things like, "This means the end of life as we know it," dredging up plot lines from previous movies just to make ham-fisted tie-ins to this one since it's the end of the franchise. It's the final reckoning. And it does not work at all. And it's really, really boring. Also, during the first hour slog, I realized a new pet peeve of mine when 4 or 5 characters are all discussing a plan and they keep finishing each other's sentences or interjecting on behalf of the audience. I've definitely seen it before and it can be done well, like this scene from the Avengers, but more often than not, it's just lazy writing trying to sound clever and disguise the fact that the movie is simply telling you the plot instead of showing it to you. There's also no jokes, not much wit or playfulness. It's just self-serious dialogue for 3 hours. The other movies knew how to inject some comic relief or lighten the mood. Fallout does this really well. Even Dead Reckoning, which is a bad movie, had appropriate amounts of humor and charm. This one has almost none of that, and the absence is noticeable. Now, all of that is just my critique of the writing. I haven't even gotten into the plot. Because there's so much exposition, most of the plot is just characters sitting around explaining stuff to each other, which again really means they're explaining it to the audience. But the central threat is the AI from the last movie, the entity, which is apparently gaining control of all the world's nukes and is going to launch all of them at everyone. That part is easy enough to follow, even though it's ridiculous. But the main problem with the plot of this movie is that Ethan Hunt begins the movie with basically everything he needs to defeat the entity. So what this movie does is basically slow him down with tons of contrived nonsense. It's made clear in Dead Reckoning that he needs to use this key to unlock this room in the Russian submarine, but the movie won't let him go there for over an hour, even though he started the movie with the key. Now, when he does finally get to the Russian submarine, that sequence is really sweet. It's quiet, it's beautifully shot, and genuinely intense. And you can tell Tom Cruise is giving it his all during the dive. He's not really in the Bering Sea or anything, but still, it's scary and riveting and very well done. They could have started the movie with that. After that, there's a lot more convoluted nonsense, just like the first hour, until we get to the finale, which is the plane duel that you've seen in all the trailers. It's solid, but it's also what you would expect from Mission Impossible at this point, and it doesn't top the submarine. Supposedly, this is the last Mission Impossible movie, but we all know how Hollywood works. Nothing ever really dies, but this is the final Mission Impossible collaboration between Tom Cruise and the director Christopher McQuarrie. And honestly, I think that's fine. I think their team up is pretty overrated. McQuarrie directed Rogue Nation, Fallout, Dead Reckoning, and now The Final Reckoning. And I haven't seen Rogue Nation, which people say is really good, but his stunt ideas all feel like versions of the same thing. Tom Cruise doing something dangerous in the air. Rogue Nation, he hangs off a plane. Fallout, he jumps out of a plane. Dead Reckoning, he rides a motorcycle off a cliff and then he parachutes. And in Final Reckoning, he flies a plane again. Yes, it's cinematic, but I don't think it's that creative. The Langley heist in Mission Impossible 1 and the Burj Khalifa sequence in Ghost Protocol remain the best moments in the entire franchise, in my opinion. Although I have to admit, the submarine part of this movie does come close. I gave this movie 1.5 stars on Letterboxd. Look, I get that people love these movies for the stunts. That's the appeal. But I can't sit here and tell you that the submarine scene and the plane scene are worth the price of admission or 3 hours of your time. Normally, I wouldn't tell people to skip a movie. I love theaters and I want people to support them, but this isn't Mickey 17. This isn't Sinners. It's not something original or weird or something that's aiming really high. This is a bloated money grab and you can easily skip it. Thanks for not skipping this review though. If you saw the movie and you loved it, feel free to fight me in the comments. Otherwise, I'll see you next time, hopefully for my first glowing review of the year. See you then.